My name is Courtney Burrell, and I'm honored to serve as a deacon at the Greater Framingham Community Church, where we are blessed to have Reverend Dr. J. Anthony Lloyd as our pastor. It is my distinct privilege and honor to welcome you to the 38th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, sponsored by the Greater Framingham Community Church, on behalf of our MLK Breakfast Chairperson, Romel Herring. We are delighted that each of you are able to attend this year's breakfast in person, despite this amazing weather that we're having today. And also, we want to welcome all of those attending with us virtually. This year's theme is one that urges us to press on, despite the seemingly unfortunate current circumstances. Dr. King's words remind us, quote, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." In fact, those who believe in Jesus Christ are reminded, in the simplicity of Psalm 42:11, to put your hope in God. We know that Isaiah teaches us that those who maintain their hope in the Lord and wait on him will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Let us not forget that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. exemplified hope in the Lord and committed his life to doing what was right. He put feet to his faith and left a tremendous legacy for us to follow. As we reflect on Dr. King's legacy today, especially at this unique moment in history, we must remember that hope has a powerful counterpart: work. The scripture in the book of James reminds us that faith without works is dead. I encourage you to use this Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day as an opportunity to put together a plan for how you will execute the work that you are being led to do, the work that God is calling you to do, a manuscript for how you will channel your hope into a plan for making this world a better place, a blueprint for how you will make a lasting impact in whatever rooms you will enter and whatever neighborhoods in which you will reside. Lastly, I hope you use the remainder of 2025 to put your plan into action. Serve your community. Give your time to active and worthwhile pursuits. Educate the youth around you. Join your local church. Take full advantage of the opportunities afforded to you. I challenge you to dig deep and build your foundation on nothing less than Jesus' love and righteousness, as he is our one true and constant source of infinite hope. At this time, I have the pleasure to introduce Nichelle J. Mungo, who will lead us in the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing. You can find the words printed on the inside of your program. Will everyone please rise for the singing of our Black National Anthem? the slaughtered, out of our gloomy past, till now we stand at last. Where by the gleam of a bright star is cast. Ready for one more? God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who has brought us thus far on the way, Thou who has led Thy might, led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadowed beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you for that beautiful rendition, Michelle. And now, we would like that you would direct your attentions to the screen as we will receive remarks from Senator Ed Markey.
Hello, Framingham. This is Senator Ed Markey, and I'm grateful to be joining you today. Thank you to Reverend Dr. J. Anthony Lloyd and Greater Framingham Community Church for putting on such a great event every single year, and for your steadfast commitment to the people of Framingham and Metro West and to our country, today and every day. Today we gather not just to celebrate, but to recommit ourselves to the urgent work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his fight for racial justice, his unyielding campaign for economic equality, his legacy of bold resistance in the face of overwhelming odds. Dr. King was more than just a dreamer. He was a disruptor. His resistance to injustice was not polite or convenient. It was courageous and relentless, and he confronted hatred, ignorance, and apathy, not only in the streets across America, but in the highest halls of power. He demanded that America reckon with its promises. Today is no ordinary day. It is both Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Inauguration Day. There is no coincidence there. It is a mandate to reject division, champion equality, recommit to building a democracy that serves all people. We are called to answer Dr. King's demands, his demand to protect voting rights, the foundation of democracy when they are under continued assault, his demand to advance racial equality in schools and workplaces at a time when inclusion itself is under attack, and his demand to challenge systems that prioritize profit over people and fear over freedom. Answering these calls requires more than words. It requires action. It demands that we dismantle systemic inequalities in education, in housing, and in our justice system itself, and rebuild with equity at the center. So let us honor Dr. King, not just in memory, but in movement. This is not a time for hesitation or disappointment. It is a time for courage and a time for infinite hope. May God bless the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and may God bless our Commonwealth and our nation as we build a more just and free future for everyone.
This breakfast would not be possible without the support of all of our sponsors who are listed within your programs today. Let's take a few moments to acknowledge our sponsors. First, at the diamond level, we would like to thank TJX for your continued support of the breakfast. At the platinum level, we would like to thank Advocates as well as Atrius Health. For our gold sponsors, a big thank you to Framingham State University for hosting us on Saturday for the youth conference, Mass Bay Community College, Philip Ottaviani, and SMOC. At the silver level, we thank Fidelity Bank, Metro West Health Foundation, the Metro West YMCA, and Wayside Youth and Family Services. And at the bronze level, our bronze sponsors, we would like to thank Edwards Church, Gordon Conwell Theological Seminary, Mutual One Bank, and Wegmans. And now, at this time, I have the privilege and the honor to introduce our MC for today's program, Remy Cofield. Remy Cofield grew up in the greater Boston area where he attended the Roxbury Latin School in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. He was a four-time Independent School League selection in basketball, MVP of the ISL in his senior season, and a McDonald's All-American nominee. He was later accepted into the University of Pennsylvania for undergrad and graduated in 2011 with his degree in sociology. During his time at Penn, he played basketball for 2 years before walking away and became an active participant in community service initiatives through his fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Returning home in 2012, he began his MBA from Bentley University and received his degree in business analytics. From 2013 to present, Remy has worked for the Boston Celtics organization in various positions, starting in 2013 as an intern and scout. Prior to the 2017-2018 NBA season, Remy was promoted to general manager of the Celtics G League affiliate, the Maine Celtics. From 2017 to 2022, he oversaw a program that helped develop many NBA players and 2 current Celtics players in Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett. Currently, he is the Boston Celtics Director of Scouting within basketball operations, continuing to help find talent across the world. Remy resides in Quincy, Massachusetts with his wife, Tori Cofield, and their 3 sons, Mason, Dominic, and Quincy. At this time, please join me in welcoming our MC for the morning, Remy Cofield.
Good morning. I need a little bit louder. Good morning. Good morning. Energy, energy, energy. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Courtney, for that introduction. That was beautiful. Again, we've all said good morning a few times right now, but I want to say good morning to you all and appreciate you all being here this morning with us. And again, welcome to the Greater Framingham Community Church's 38th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast. That's a mouthful. I would like to thank all of you who are here, but also all of you that are joining us online. We appreciate you guys being here with us today. Rain, sleet, or snow? Well, we got some snow today, right? We got some snow. But that wasn't going to stop us from being here today, was it? MLK breakfast, it means a lot to everybody here, doesn't it? Absolutely. I hope everyone has enjoyed their breakfast and everyone's congregating with some new faces, maybe some familiar ones as well. I want to say thank you to Reverend Lloyd for allowing me to come here and be a part of this. This is really special for me. But I also want to thank Ramel Herring for putting this entire thing together. Her and her team did a fantastic job, so please give them a round of applause. It's truly special, truly special. Before we get started, I want to try something that I do in the sports world, right? And I know some of you guys are groaning and everything. Oh, we got to do something sports related. Trust me, you don't have to be an athlete to do this, okay? When I say one clap, I want one clap. Nice and easy. We don't have to put no English on it. We don't have to do a little, anything extra. Just one clap. When I say 2 claps, I need 2 claps, okay? We good? Are we good on that? If anyone strains themselves, you can send your medical bills to me. My name is Reverend Lloyd. I'm just being serious. So let's try it, okay? 1 clap, 2 claps, 1 clap, 2 claps. Awesome, let's get started, I felt like that was appropriate for this group, just because we're a microcosm of the larger community. One person clapping won't make enough of noise in this world, but everyone clapping together in our community, it just might, okay? So let's keep that in mind as we go through the program today. Let's stick together, let's be community focused, and let's work as a team. As Deacon Burrell mentioned, my name is Remy Kofoed, and I work in the front office of the Boston Celtics as the team's director of scouting. I've been a small cog in the roster building strategies and efforts over the last 12 seasons, which has been a fantastic ride, culminating in a championship last spring and the raising of our team's league-leading 18th banner. I'm excited and honored to be here with you all to celebrate the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a true visionary whose passion and love for all has stood the test of time and has inspired so many to make positive change through 2025 and beyond. As a youth, I would attend this event because it was just the normal thing we did. Get a nice breakfast, see some friends, get away from school, of course. As an adult now with my own family, it means so much more. It's a gathering of like minds, a collection of community leaders, a celebration of not just what has brought us here, but what will carry us forward and create the next generation of true leaders. In my line of work, we are constantly developing, pushing, striving for a common goal. We ask everyone, not just players, to give their personal best, but to try and get 1% better every single day. It reminds me of a quote by Dr. King that says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. It's easy to acquiesce to the times, to fall prisoner to a struggle. If you push through, I promise there are some wonderful things on the other side. I hope all of us can gain some strength from today's program, and from here on out, push to get 1% better each and every day, because the greater community, it depends on it, okay? So let's get started. Up first in our program, we'll have our youth presentation from Tyler V. Hendricks Sutton and our young professional presentation from Kayla Dawkins. Tyler is 16 years old and has achieved so much so far in his life, from being an active participant in the GFCC community, to his achievements in football, basketball, track and field, to his work with Jack and Jill and the Boy Scouts of America. This young man has done it all. Kayla, in a similar vein, is from the Metro West area and has been an active part of her community from a young age. She has built a career in business, and her work has brought her from the East to the West Coast, and currently to the Midwest, where she resides in Columbus, Ohio. Her ability to do her work every day while keeping an eye on inclusivity is truly amazing. To get us started, please welcome Tyler to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Tyler Hendricks Sutton, and I'm really grateful to have been chosen as the youth speaker for the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Breakfast today. Firstly, I would like to thank Reverend Dr. J. Anthony Lloyd and our GFCC Board of Christian Education MLK Committee for the opportunity to share my thoughts as we recognize Martin Luther King Jr., who had such an impact on our history in advancing civil rights for people of color in the United States. I've been thinking a lot about this year's quote. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope, by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As a 16-year-old black boy, this theme resonates really deeply with me. When we talk about finite disappointment, we're addressing those moments in our lives that bring us down, the times when things don't work out the way we want. For many of us, this could be failing a test we studied hard for. This could be being turned down for a job or facing rejection in relationships. We all have our share of challenges, and as young people, we face a lot of pressure to succeed. I think about my own disappointments. There have been times when I didn't make the right decisions, like, maybe watching football playoffs, late at night when I was supposed to be studying. And, I had to face, unfortunate consequences. But yeah, there are also more serious times when, maybe I wasn't included in things I wanted to be included in. And, it can hurt, it can hurt. It feels like heavy on our hearts. And, it's okay to feel that pain. Disappointment is very real, and we have to acknowledge it. It reminds us that we're human. But here's the important part. We must remember that these disappointments are finite. They're temporary. And in the grand scheme of life, just a small piece of our journey. Now let's turn our focus to infinite hope. Hope is that powerful feeling that pushes us forward, even when the going gets tough. It's about envisioning a brighter future and believing that good things are still to come, no matter how rough the path may seem. One of the places I draw my hope from is from my faith. I believe that God has a plan for each and every one of us. And sometimes those plans may not align with our own desires at the moment. Look at some of the stories in the Bible, for example. Joseph, he was sold into slavery by his own brothers. I mean, man, that's just tragic. You know what I'm saying? You can't make that up. You can't make it up. But even through all that, through faith and resilience, he eventually became one of the most powerful figures in all of Egypt. His story shows us that even when life throws obstacles our way, we can rise above them with hope and perseverance. In our community, we see so many challenges that can make it easy to feel disheartened. You've all watched the news, right? The news could be overwhelming at times, and it can feel like disappointment is all around us. But I believe that it's our responsibility to spread hope. Each and every one of us has the power to uplift others. And when we support one another, we can create an environment where hope thrives, where young people like us can dream big despite our circumstances. I remember a time when I volunteered at the local food pantry, and I was younger, so I thought this was going to be all about me. I was low-key being a little selfish. I'm not going to lie. I was being very selfish. And, the look on my face when I had found out I was going to be there all day, sorting through foods and working inventory. At first, I felt frustrated. I was younger. I felt a little mad. But when I saw the smiles on the people's faces, the people that I was helping, the people that were in need, it hit me. I just realized my effort had mattered. And, I created a moment of joy. And that's what hope is all about. It's about finding light in the dark and knowing that even a small act can make a difference. As we navigate our lives, let's not allow finite disappointments to dim our infinite hope. Let's embrace our dreams and aspirations with an unwavering spirit. With each setback, we should remind ourselves that greatness often comes from moments where we had to dig deep and find that hope from within. In closing, I want to encourage each and every one of you, whether you're a student, a parent, or any member of this community, to accept our disappointments, to learn from them, and to move forward with hope. Let's be the ones who shine light into the lives of others, reminding them that every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? The mic's not on yet? Okay. Good morning. All right. I am so excited to be here, but also a little bit nervous. When I accepted the opportunity to speak at the breakfast this year, I didn't think my whole family would be here and here staring at me, so bear with me. This also includes my niece and nephew. They're very honest, so hopefully this speech isn't too boring to them. But aside from that, I am just really excited and thankful to be here. So Ms. Romel and the entire MLK Breakfast Memorial Committee, thank you for the work that you've put into this beautiful, beautiful occasion. So 2024 was a crazy year for me, and I'm sure for many of you in this room. And I think we can all define our crazy a little differently, whether it's dealing with personal challenges, career obstacles, or the ever-changing political climate. I think we've all had our fair share of highs and lows this past year. But one thing the past year has taught me is to be patient, because nothing lasts forever and things are constantly changing for the better. I, for one, am not the most patient person naturally. Those closest to me know I'm all about efficiency, and I'm usually wondering why something is taking so long. But when it comes to big dreams and big goals, I've learned over time that patience is the name of the game, whether that be to accomplish career goals, personal goals, or to create change around you. Even as a young girl, I started a baking business, which many of you were patrons to, thinking that this would be my big break. But I soon after realized, when I was shut down by my 7th grade teacher for handing out cookies in history class, that this would be my first lesson in learning to appreciate the journey, and I gained so much experience from my time as a small business owner. I remember when I had first graduated Northeastern University and I was living in Los Angeles. I was convinced I would complete my long list of goals and what I had defined as success by 30. To me, that looked like being a girl boss, having my dream job in marketing, owning investment properties, getting my dream car for my birthday, taking more vacations than days worked, and who knows what else. Not that I didn't travel often and don't travel often now, but I realized that it would take a little bit more time to achieve these things. On a new grad salary, living in a very expensive city, everything wasn't going to happen overnight. It would take a lot of planning, patience, and prayer to get there, and also having a praying mom. So today, I want to share with you the 3 things I've learned and continue to lean into when I get caught up in the fast-paced life of instant gratification. All big goals start with a plan. When I graduated college and got my first job, my plan was to work in sales and then transition my way into marketing within
Before
a
I
few
was
years.
born, how
Little
did
did
I
I
get
know
inside
it was going
mommy's
to take
tummy?
much longer and have several detours along the way.
Daddy's
My
a little
initial
busy
plan
right
was
now,
to complete
sweetie.
2 rotations
Remember
in
the
the sales
pipe that
development
burst?
program
I'm
at
asking her.
Neutrogena, and then position myself so that I could move into the marketing organization after. To my surprise, they wanted me to stay in the sales organization and move to Minneapolis, which was a hard no for me at the time, and more on this later. So I decided to leave the organization and pursue a new opportunity and promotion that I thought would get me closer to my goals. A little over a year later, and while on vacation, I was laid off. I was starting my career all over again. But this time, I was more clear in my goal and my plan and advocated for it loudly. In my interviews at my current company, I let them know that joining the sales organization would be a stepping stone for me to later join the marketing team. Sharing my plan and with my future team allowed for no surprises when I started applying to marketing roles within the organization. So 3 years later, and I moved to Columbus, Ohio, and I finally made the transition to marketing, working in brand management. I mention all of this because I always had a plan for how I would get to the marketing team, but it didn't exactly plan out how I had expected it to. It took a layoff and a relocation for me to get there. But I stuck it out and made some adjustments along the way, which led me to my next point to share with you. Expect the unexpected. If someone had told me 7 years ago that I'd move to Ohio for work, I would have laughed because there was absolutely no way this was on my bingo card for life. I have always been open to moving to new cities and trying new things. My policy is I'll try anything once and then decide whether or not it's for me. But I also had a list of preferred cities, staying in Los Angeles, moving to New York, or even Chicago, but not Minneapolis, not Columbus, or even Bentonville, Arkansas. But alas, here I am, and I've been in Ohio for 3 years with no true complaints about the city, but very grateful for what it's helped me to accomplish. my goals of transitioning into brand management, and helping me to be more present for family functions since I'm closer to the East Coast now. I look back now and say that this opportunity and move was exactly what I needed, but I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't open to the opportunity of something new. Sometimes we have to take the slightly less glamorous path and take the risks that are presented to us to make the moves for the opportunities that will happen down the road. Because you never know how that moment or moments are going to piece together to help your plan come together in the end. Plus, if things don't pan out, you can always pivot knowing you tried something new and try again. Lastly, remember that your journey is yours and be patient with yourself. Not every day is going to look the same or be the same as your peers. It took me until January 7th to get back into the swing of work, life, productivity, and after being home for the holidays. But that downtime is just as important as all of the time I spent working late nights and juggling multiple priorities. Throughout the process of achieving your goals, there will be detours and some things will take longer than you expect, but each day and each step brings you closer to preparing yourself for your end goal. I know it's hard to see when you're in the thick of it, but you look back months later and you'll be smiling knowing you're on the other side of that big project, presentation, or interview, knowing everything that you did leading up to it was setting you up to accomplish that goal and be your best self. So remember to be patient with yourself, the journey, and all of your dreams, because small steps put together accomplish big dreams and everything will come to pass when the moment is right. As today's quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, "We must accept disappointment, but never lose infinite hope." Thank you and happy MLK Day.
Nope. Can you hear me now? Excellent, excellent. I heard some key words in that. Hope, struggle, goals. Both of you guys are truly special. We thank you, Tyler and Kayla. You guys are doing some powerful things in our community. Let's give them a round of applause. We are going to transition now to a musical selection from Nichelle Mungo, who we just saw earlier. Nichelle is without a doubt a highly decorated artist within the music industry, a recording artist, professor, songwriter, choral master, and multifaceted freelance musician. Following Nichelle, we will have the privilege of listening to Dr. Eurydice Stanley, our keynote speaker. Dr. Eurydice is one of the more gifted, respected, and accomplished leaders of her generation. An award-winning author and filmmaker, a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, and an inspirational speaker, as we will soon find out. Dr. Eurydice is the CEO of Amused Media and Productions LLC, a training and development company, and Lamp Press, a publishing company. To this day, she has published more than 100 articles and has written or co-authored 8 books. A former Florida A&M graduate where she was a 4th-generation Rattler. Following her undergraduate studies, she earned a Master's of Industrial Relations from the University of Minnesota and a PhD in Counseling and Psychology from Louisiana Baptist University. She is a member of numerous organizations, including Life Membership and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The NAACP, and she is a proud charter member of the Military Women's Memorial. But before we get to Dr. Eurydice Stanley, please welcome Nichelle for a musical selection.
Hi. Oh, I am on. Yay. Happy MLK Day 2025. This room is filled with an immense amount of brilliant, loving souls coming together to celebrate a common cause. And I just want to give a sincere thanks to Ramel and Felix for an opportunity for me to be here today. It's quite the honor. Everyone's dreams are valid. Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream for us to come together as one, regardless of our race, our creed, ethnic backgrounds, what have you. And though there is an immense amount of work still needing to be done, we are indeed moving forward, and I'm happy about that. And I want you all to keep sight of your dreams, because they too are valid as well. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die, 'cause I don't know what's up there. so much.
Y'all are gonna have to give me a second. January 30th is my birthday. It's also the day that my father died. And that was one of the songs that was sung at his funeral. And my father was a singer. He sang with the MLK chorus in West Virginia, and they traveled all over singing God's praises and sharing Dr. King's message of hope and love. So what are you doing to me today? You're just... And actually, I know that was my dad giving me a hug. So thank you, Dad. And if you were here in the flesh, although I know he's here in spirit, if he were here in flesh, he would be the consummate deacon, shaking hands with everyone and making sure you all knew that his daughter was speaking today. So everyone just say hi to Colonel Q and tell him stop. To Reverend Dr. J. Anthony, thank you. You know, I can't say that grief is something that comes in waves. But not only grief comes in waves, messages come in waves. And when I walked in this morning, you saw the beautiful walkways that we walked through. Weren't they gorgeous? They were gorgeous, weren't they? But you know what I saw? My son and I just spent Christmas in South Carolina. And there were schools and churches made with brick that was made by formerly enslaved hands. And if you went up close to the brick, you could see a fingerprint in some of the bricks, as if to say, I was here. Pay attention to me. Recognize my humanity. And I feel that today. And when I walked through that walkway, they said, speak for me. Tell them why they need to know about me. And today is a very significant day. And from now on, when you see brick, I want you to think about the hands that used to make those bricks and what they went through. Okay, We're going to get back on track. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And I want you to know that I thought long and hard about this speech. And I've written, sir, at least 50 versions. This is not any of the versions, I'll have you know. So actually, I'm going to put all these versions together and tell folks why what we're talking about today is important. Because I know that there are others, aside from me, at least 92% of one particular demographic that might feel finite disappointment right now. But we must have, according to Dr. King, infinite hope. But let's talk about what that means. I know that you gave me this, but where am I pointing it to? Did you advance it? Okay, thank you. Before we get started, I am of the Baptist faith. Any Baptists in the house? Anyone familiar with call and response? That is a process, for those of you who are not familiar, where a deacon or a leader of the church leads the worship service. And again, as I said, my father sang not only for the MLK chorus, but he also sang for his church. And I want you to know, and I want you to hear, and I want you to feel what has been going through my spirit since November 6th. And I would like for you to join in.
I love the Lord. He heard my cry. Why don't you help me? Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He heard my cry and pitied every groan. Do you believe that today? Do you believe that today? Because that's the only way that we are going to make it. That is the only way that we will survive. I feel like we get into things become very normal. They become very every day. Even lift every voice and sing. Everyone's reading the words, but pull out your program for one moment, please. Go to the second stanza. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod. I really want you to think about what that means. I've been tracing the footsteps of Harriet Tubman for the past 2 years. We created a documentary, Chasing Harriet, and we've been able to share some very important history, and I'm very proud of that effort. But I will tell you that it has been pretty traumatizing to really look at and understand what General Harriet Tubman Davis, let's hear it for, did you know that Harriet Tubman Davis was promoted to general on Veterans Day this year? You all don't know? She was promoted. Well, let me tell you then. First, let me say, okay, now I feel my strength coming. I'm getting back, okay? I'm getting back. Boston is where icons and visionaries meet, because Boston speaks to the strength and the meeting of the kings. This is where Dr. King met Coretta Scott King when he was at Boston University. Did you know that? And this is where Harriet Tubman conducted Underground Railroad operations. She was an operator. She made stuff happen. Tell me, what are the similarities between Dr. King and Harriet Tubman? Anyone? They persevered. Again, despite incredible obstacles, correct? Absolutely. What else? Any other words come to mind? Absolutely. You looked at my slides, right? Because I have a slide that says that. Yes. Both dreamers, absolutely. And also both visionaries. They saw something that no one else saw. But here's the other thing. They were also both doers. They didn't ask who can do it. They said, well, this is what we're going to do. There aren't a lot of people who will do that. You all have someone like that with Reverend Dr. Lloyd. Because I've watched him in action. I had the privilege of being here for the Youth Summit, and I pray that you continue that. What a beautiful summit that was. And I will take a point of mommy privilege and say that my son, Christian, was one of the speakers at the Youth Summit. Christian, stand up and say hello to everyone. I'm allowed to embarrass my child. I can't tell you how important what you did on Saturday was. I was a single parent raising 2 extraordinary children while serving as an active duty military officer. And I will tell you it was hard. But I will also tell you I knew that my only goal in life, I appreciate that wonderful introduction, Remy. However, I will tell you what it should have said was, Eurydice is Grace and Christian's mama. And that would have encompassed everything. That's all that matters. And I know with your beautiful sons and your beautiful wife, you feel the same way. Family is everything, right? So let's talk about family. Let's talk about legacy. Because what happens from today on is what is going to impact your future. The little people that are sitting here in this room, what happens today from now on is going to make all the difference in the world. Ask me how I know. I'm glad you asked me. I co-authored a book with Elizabeth Eckford of the Little Rock Nine. Anyone familiar with the Little Rock Nine? For those of you who aren't, the Little Rock Nine were the first African-American students to enter Central High. The goal was integration, but they say they desegregated because true integration never took place. On a daily basis, they experienced physical, emotional, verbal, painful hatred, not only at the hands of students, but their parents would come to the school and make plans with the students for the next day of what they were going to do to the Little Rock Nine. Do you hear me? The parents came. Does that seem odd to you? Very. Do you think that that wouldn't happen today? All I'm going to say to you is, did anybody see t-shirts that said Civil War on folks that were tearing down the Capitol January 6th? Anybody notice that? Don't think it can't happen today, because there is a tenor that is different than ever before. And you cannot be silent. You cannot be apathetic, because if you are, that tenor is going to take over. And we need you to be the stopgap. Let me show you a little bit about what I mean. Okay, I'm just pointing somewhere. Here, when I hold this up, will you advance the slide? We are talking about the fierce urgency of now. When I served in the military, I had a very elite position, one that I'm very proud of. You spoke earlier, Remy, of the church and the body being a microcosm of society. The military is also a microcosm of society. Would you all agree to that the military is a microcosm of society? People from all walks of life come and serve in the military. Well, here's the thing. During the Vietnam War, we were having race riots. We were having fraggings. Anybody familiar with fraggings? Anyone familiar with what that means? That's when you take a hand grenade, you pull the pin, and you throw it in the tent of the person who called you a racial epithet earlier in the day. That's a fragging. Probably because of all the fragments after the hand grenade. Ships were diverted. Buildings were burned on military bases due to race riots. And you can Google this, I'm not making it up. And as a result, my organization was founded, the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. And I will tell you that when I was going through my dad's papers, I found a certificate from him going through a training through the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. At that time, it was called the Defense Race Relations Institute. The name was expanded to address other issues like gender, religious accommodation. And let me just say one thing. I'm not going to get into my colonel hat. I'm just going to put the colonel hat on for 1 second. Did you hear me say that Harriet Tubman was a fierce leader? Did you know that she was the first woman to lead an armed military raid? Did you know that? There's a book called Combie. Get it? Dr. Etta Fields Johnson, I believe, but Dr. Etta Fields, forgive me, Dr. Etta, she's awesome. Get that book and learn about what Harriet Tubman did, because it was absolutely amazing. And I'm saying this again from the confines of Harriet Tubman and Dr. King converging here. Because she was a scout, she was a spy, she was a cook, she was an entrepreneur, she was a nurse. I had the honor of staying at the house where she served as a nurse in Beaufort, South Carolina. And you know how she healed? She healed because she remembered what her mother told her. Legacy. She knew what herbs to put together to help to heal the soldiers that were under her charge. Vision. And then we have leaders like Dr. King, who the night before he was assassinated gave a message that made it clear that he knew what was going to happen the next day. Can you imagine? My dissertation started with that message. I will tell you, sir, that the reason I wrote this message so many times is because I revere Dr. King, and I appreciate you for this opportunity. And I also appreciate my line sister, Sonia Jackson-Miles, for recommending that I come to you all today, because she knows my passion. And I also would be horribly remiss if I did not say specifically thank you to the Rho Epsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority for your beautiful sisterhood and welcome, particularly Sarah Dawn. Thank you so much for making me. Why does history matter? Why do you think that states want to wipe history out? Because history is knowledge. History is power. Do you think a child might be emboldened by touching the fingerprint that's in a brick and knowing who left that fingerprint there and knowing what that person went through and how they paved the way and how they stand on their shoulders? No. There are certain people who don't want that message shared. And so there's an effort to wipe it out. You must be the front line to prevent that from happening. You must be the front line to ensure that does not happen. Call and response. Just tell me yes. Tell me you're going to do it. Tell me, please. Because our next generation is begging you. They want to know. They have to know. Next slide, please. Here's the reason why they need to know. You see that picture on the left? I was the only African American in my high school. And yes, that is my face on a monkey in the high school yearbook. Can you imagine what that felt like? And when I brought that yearbook to my dad said, "They put my baby's face on a monkey?" And later, the advisor came to me in tears because they got that page past her. She didn't see that page. And I know she didn't see it because she was a very sweet woman. She didn't see that page. But this is why it's so important that our students understand the racial epithets, characterizations, and things of that nature. That picture that was next to my image was Elizabeth Eckford's first day. Something that was very significant was you won't find pictures of the Little Rock Nine in school. You know why? Because nobody wanted them there. And they tried to erase them. They're not the only ones. There are others who did courageous, incredible things. Sit-ins in Pensacola, 707 days, the longest sit-in anywhere. You will not find a single picture in the newspaper archives of those sit-ins. But my children and I had the opportunity to meet members of the NAACP youth sit-ins from the 60s and 70s. And you know what we did? We created their own lunch counter, and we told them, you can have whatever you like. We have to combat apathy by giving our ancestors who worked so hard for us their roses while they lived. They deserve it. Next slide, please. This is in Pensacola, Florida. Remember those handmade bricks that I was telling you about? However, if you go on the website, it says that the Army Corps of Engineers built this beautiful, incredible facility. 6 million handmade bricks. It wasn't built by the Army Corps of Engineers. It was built by men who were enslaved, who were paid, who their owners were paid by the Army Corps of Engineers. And one of the things about that mandate that the state of Florida said that slavery was mutually beneficial, excuse me? So the thought was, well, they learned something. You don't just come here learning that. They already knew how to do that, okay? Anyone familiar with the pyramids? Y'all are too quiet for me. I'm not crying anymore. Work with me, people. Y'all gotta talk to me. I'm fine now. Dad just jumps up sometimes and we just gotta, recognize that and then everybody, we can move on. So everybody, you gotta talk to me. Next slide, please. I want you to, this is the dreamer quote from the person who snuck into my slides earlier today. We have to be dreamers, but like Dr. King and like Harriet Tubman, we also have to be doers. And I'm asking you today, this is a day on, not a day off. Please commit yourself to action. What will you do? What can you do? Next slide, please. These are some of the images from what Elizabeth Eckford experienced on her first day of school. Remember, this was a high school. If you see in the lower right side, those were just a few of the weapons that were collected from the rioters. That's the only word that I can use. Knives, a bullwhip, guns. These are kids. And I say this to say that you have to get involved and make it clear that this is not okay. President Eisenhower, former five-star general, took matters into his own hands and sent in the 101st Airborne. That is a valid use of military because he said, let me go back and say that again. That is a valid use of military because he said, we are not going to allow mob rule to rule, okay? So if you hear of any other use of the military in the future than that, then you are going to have to open your mouths and speak against it. Next slide, please. Okay. I'm sorry, I can't see. The reason that event was so important on Saturday was it exposed young people to something that they had not necessarily seen before. They heard speakers and they had the opportunity to walk on a college campus. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? How important is that? They have to know that it's an opportunity, it's an option, it's something that they can do. These are pictures of my little people. This is Christian. Could you put that back up? When he was a little boy, yes, you little boy, handing out books. We lived in Pensacola, my last duty assignment, and we had a parade for everything. So normally we were throwing beads, but this year we were handing out books. And so we were handing out copies of a whole bunch of different books, but also this was a book that I wrote about Christian, little man, old boy, to encourage young men in a single mother household to see that there are mentors around them. Unfortunately, sometimes when little boys don't see their father, that's what they focus on, instead of recognizing that there are mentors all around them. So, Remy, take him with you, please. You already got 3. Come on, just, look, where's your ring? You were supposed to bring the bling so I could entice him. He came Sunday with his Celtics ring, and the kids were just, their eyes were like this. I was like that too. I've never seen anything like that. You didn't bring the bling today. Come on now. Because I need you to mentor my son. Okay, you got 5 minutes before we gotta go. Next slide, please. This picture says it all. And please go on to Tiafo's website. He is an incredible artist. But our children can't forget their roots, but they're not gonna know them if you don't share them with them. Hello, somebody. When I was at Diomi, we used to create information and we used to teach history and share the important information. Why? Because unfortunately, there were people who did not know that people of color did anything. Can you imagine? But they really believed the hype. So we had to create information, and that's why we would have Cultural Heritage Months. And we would talk about In February, African American history. March, women. Why? Because people were not actively paying attention to what was being done. I love that everyone is so happy about the 688, but I'll tell you what, a member of the 688 was one of my mentors. The kids and I used to go visit her in the VA. She was the first woman to be in the VA residential were all men until Miss Alice Dixon of the 688. And she was 107 when she passed away. And when I tell you she was a woman of strength, she was a woman of resilience, she was. But one thing I will tell you about that movie, you know, at the end when the guys were clapping and 688, never happened. Never happened. They did not start getting recognized until 50 years. 50 years. No ticker tape parades, no nothing. Some of them didn't even get the GI Bill. There was racial disparity, and it's very real, and it has an impact on legacy. My daughter is the 5th generation of my family. I'm 4th generation. My daughter's 5th generation. She's using my GI Bill. She's using my post 9/11 bill. That's legacy. But not everybody has that opportunity. Not everyone had that opportunity due to discrimination, and people don't want to talk about it. Thank you, sister. That's what I'm here for. Praise God. Yes, I want to educate. But I want you to also look for yourselves, and I want you to know. All of these are very important. When Christian was a little boy, he read a poem called I Am the Dream to his classmates. Next slide, please. And he showed them a picture of, he showed them part of the, because I was also a speaker at the dedication of the memorial, the Dr. King Memorial. So I brought Christian back a piece of the of the granite. And so he took it around to all his classmates, showing them a piece of Dr. King. That's what he was saying. This is Dr. King, this is Dr. King, which I thought was very sweet. But we all carry a piece of Dr. King. But here's the thing. When Dr. King was killed, he was 39 years old. But his heart was 60. Can you imagine the burden? And that was from the autopsy. Can you imagine the burden of what he was doing? Montgomery bus boycott? Speaking against the Vietnam War? Unheard of at the time. Unheard of. And people were turning away from him. And that hurt him. That hurt his heart. Think about it when you have a friend who turns on you. How does that make you feel? And when Dr. King died, he was basically penniless. They had one very modest home. Even when he received the money from the Nobel Peace Prize, he gave it back to the community. His family didn't have those means. We have to practice self-care. As my son reminded me the other day, put on your own mask first, or else you're not going to be any good to anyone else. Take care of you. That is something that my dad always said. Next slide, please. I am asking you today, and I thank you for your patience. I thank you for your support. I thank you for your positive energy. I truly felt it. I am asking you today to give voice. Do you see that quote from Dr. King? Someone read that out loud for me, please. What are the things that matter that you've been silent about? Remember when I told you that I love the Lord has just been going through my heart because there are so many things that have just been burdened in my heart. I can tell you they feel lifted today, sir. I can tell you that I feel hope because I've shared with 350 friends, and I don't know how many friends via Zoom. Oh, shout out to Mom and the family. Hi, Mommy and Grandma. We have to speak on the things that matter. We cannot be silent. Today is day one. And I would also like to thank Romel. Could you come up here, please? I would like to give you a copy of Christian's book because she did a great job. She is the one who did all of the work to put this together. And she recommended Christian to the youth so that this was Christian's first speaking gig. And Pastor, I will bring a copy of The Worst First Day to you. And I want to thank you for being a fighter. And I want to thank you for staying in the trenches. But we're all in the trenches, right? We're all in the trenches. There may be some finite disappointment today for some of us. I speak for self, and I say there is finite disappointment for me today. But I look to visionaries like Dr. King and General Harriet Tubman Davis, and I have infinite hope, and I hope you do too. God bless you all.
Wow.
Come on back, peaceful.
Wow. Truly special. I've been blessed to be around some powerful leaders. We all tend to have the same thing in common. It's just their passion, their experience, not only for what's in the present, but in the past, and have a good feeling of where we are and where we're going as a people and a community. Eurydice is no different from all those leaders that I've come across in my lifetime. So please, another round of applause. Beautiful. We're gonna move forward to the next portion of our program here. Due to unforeseen circumstances, the Howard HBCU STEP team was not able to be with us today. So we will pivot to a song by Clariana Swaggart, a musical theater major at Howard University. Following that, we'll then have a dance performance by Anointed, and then that will be followed by a performance by the multi-talented artist and humanitarian, Rob Surrett. So Clariana.
a very pleasant good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good morning.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you to all the organizers, Ramel, Miss Lisa Cargill for inviting us. We are Clary and the Freedom Ensemble. My name is Quentin Price. I'm a recent graduate of Howard University. Yes. In which I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Elementary Education with a minor in history, which I graduated summa cum laude. Yes.
I'm sure you guys are kind of privy to who I am now, but my mom's here to see. My name's Christian Stanley. Going to the Fire Academy. It's a beautiful event.
I'm Kendall Scott, member of GFCC, and I'm very happy to be here today.
Hello, and again, I'm Clariana Swaggart, a musical theater major from Howard University.
Faithful, faithful, faithful is our God. Faithful, faithful, faithful is our God. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me, and I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Yes, I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Holy, holy, holy is our God. Holy, holy, holy is our God. Reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me, and I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Yes, I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Jesus, Jesus is our God. Jesus, your name is so holy. Jesus, Jesus is our God. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me, and I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Yes, I rejoice today. For I shall recover it all. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus is our God. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus is our God. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me.
I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the
stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I'm reaping the harvest God promised me. Take back what the devil stole from me. And I rejoice today.
Put those hands together.
And I rejoice today. And I rejoice today. For I shall recover it.
Free on God.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun.
Where is she?
Come on back, peaceful.
Whoa. Easy now. I'm gonna be free on God.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
You have made it 100 miles to freedom. Would you like to pick a new name to mark your freedom?
Sheraton.
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I gotta make up mind. And I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I'll fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to keep on keeping on.
Harriet, welcome to the Underground Railroad.
And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Shine stars fill the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, do you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Hi, Greater Framingham Community Church. Happy Martin Luther King Day 2025. This is artist Rob Surratt. I've joined you for, I think, 5 years in a row now, and I'm at a very special location as I introduce my artwork for this year. What we see here is the Mountain of Despair. And out of the Mountain of Despair comes the Stone of Hope.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Over me. Over me. Yeah. And before I be asleep, I'll be buried in my own grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping, don't you know? No more weeping. No more weeping over me. And before I be asleep, I'll be buried in my own grave. Go home to my Lord and be free.
Thank you all for inviting me to paint this latest installation of all the heroes
amount of talented people that we have, unbelievable. Just the dancing reminded me I have to stretch at some point today. That was it's a little bit difficult for me to watch there. I remember I took about 2 weeks of breakdancing. My mom put me into breakdancing classes, and after they started doing a little bit too much, I was out of there. I was done. I was smoked. I was gone. At this point in time, I just want to say it's been an honor and a pleasure to be the Master of Ceremonies today. And thank you to the Greater Framingham Community Church for having me. We'd like to thank everyone who came out here today, braved the cold and the winter weather, and also those who have joined us online. Eurydice had asked me to make sure everyone takes a copy of this bookmark home. It has a list of her books on the back of it and a couple of her quotes as well. So please make sure to bring that home with you. I wanted to, my son is here today, and we have this saying that's actually from a powerful leader in our community now. Some of you may know him, Deion Sanders. He's the head coach at University of Colorado, and he says, look good, feel good, play good. And when you play good, they pay good. But when they pay good, go ahead and give a little something back to the hood, right? We will now wrap it up with closing remarks from Reverend Dr. J. Anthony Lloyd. Thank you, guys.
Turn me around, turn me around. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on talking, keep on walking, walking in the promised land. Oh, try it now. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Turn me around, turn me around. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'll keep on talking, keep on walking, walking in the promised land. That's an old civil rights song. Indeed, on this here Martin Luther King Jr. celebration, where he would have been 96 years of age. There's no other place I would ever want to be on this day, but in this room at this time with all of you. With much that's going on in the world, I share with you, I'm with Michelle. Some of y'all will get that on Wednesday. And just a plug, just to remind you from whence I come, go Eagles, go Eagles. Everybody's got their day. But thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of our celebration today, community-wide celebration where we come together. And it's a recognition. The fact is that in moments like this, we must pause to celebrate, renew our commitment, and yes, to believe in making this dream to come true. I was reminded this week as we've led up to here, and 3 different quotes from Dr. King. And I thought these here words from Dr. King were very poignant, spoken back in the 60s, and yet they speak of today. At one point he said, we are called to speak for the weak, for the voiceless, for the victims of our nation, and for those who call them their enemy. For no document from human hands can make these humans any less our brothers and our sisters. Words for today. He would go on to say, never, never be afraid to do what's right. especially if all well-being of a person is at stake. Society's punishments are small compared to the wounds we inflict on our soul when we remain silent and look the other way. And then, as it's been heard already today, both from Tyler and Kayla and Dr. Stanley and our speakers, even from Brimmy, the words, when evil men plot, good men must plan. When evil men burn and bomb, good men must build and bind. When evil men shout ugly words of hatred, we must commit ourselves to the goodness and the glories of love. This is a day in which we plan and we commit ourselves to action. This is the day when, yes, the dreams of Dr. King and so many others are still our dreams. Dr. King would say, may I stress the need for courageous, intelligent, and dedicated leadership. Leaders who show integrity. Leaders not in love with publicity, but in love with justice. Leaders not in love with money, but in love with humanity. Leaders who can subject their particular egos, I pause, to the greatness of the cause. The cause is great. The cause remains great. And yes, we must plan, build, and act. Do so, yes, as I've been saying, our lives depend upon it. There is across this land, yes, an existential threat to the very existence, let alone the dreams that we have. But, I know a God. But it is, yes, just a season. And we are going to march through this season to a brighter day. That day is coming. I was sitting at the table, and as I was watching, and Remy was up here, and I was just proud of him as I can be of him. I saw Mason sitting there. Mason, come on up here. Come on up here, Mason. Mason sitting there, and he was on the spot. Let me tell you, this boy, who was looking at his dad up here, just as gleaming in his eyes and as proud as he could be. And I was reminded as you had to have the glare on his face, and he was just poignant looking at his dad. And I said, that is what it's about. That we might model for our children, that they can be proud of us. Proud of us. And we're proud of you, I want you to know, Mason. We're proud of all our young people, from those that spoke to those that danced, those in attendance, for over 100 youth that were at the youth conference at Mass Bay Community College, at Framingham State University. We'll get this right here. And Mass Bay supporting us in that effort. Thank you so much. I want all the children and youth to come in. If you're in the room, come on up. Anybody 18 or younger, if you're feeling younger, any in the room, come on up front. Come on up front. All my college students up there, come on up here. Y'all like to sit in the spotlight. Tyler, come on up, lead the way. All right. Come on up here. Let's see what it is. Look at them. Come on up. Yes, yes. Yes, there's some more out there. Come on, that's right. Bastrel, moving fast. Wonderful. Turn around, look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. Yes, yes, look at that. Look at that. Come on. There's some ladies. Come on up. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I tell you. Man, I want you to know that in this room, there are folk here who have worked hard and diligently to stay in this here fight. And they do so because they look at you and are reminded that indeed you must have opportunities that they didn't have. They fight so that you can be engaged, that you can take it and realize your dreams and be successful. They are and have your back. They believe in you, just as you have demonstrated that you believe in yourself. So Martin Luther King is about having a dream. He had a dream, but I know each one of y'all has a dream. Go for that dream. And don't let nothing stop you in receiving that dream. A big shout out to everybody that put together this here program, especially to the committee. Thank you so much for everyone and your support, not only today, but what you do throughout the entire year to ensure that, yes, we make a difference in this world and we do go after those dreams. Don't stop dreaming. And don't stop working, fighting, pushing, and marching to that promised land. Won't you stand with me? Our closing hymn as we go out. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Happy MLK Day. Thank you for coming. Very good.